Welcome to my inaugural episode of my podcast, and today I am joined by my guest, JustVan. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
So basically, this is the first episode, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different gaming and news going around on the world. So, our first topic is the Last of Us movie. So, have you heard anything about this?
I have. I've heard that they have considered making a Last of Us movie.
I think the people, from what I've heard, the people who are doing who did Resident Evil are doing the same movie.
Hmm.
I haven't seen the Resident Evil movies actually.
No, I haven't either. I think it'll be fun. I think like I'm cautiously excited about it because I really liked The Last of Us. And even if they don't follow the storyline of the game, which I think they should, but even if they don't, there's still a lot of world I think that they could construct a story around.
Hmm.
So I think that it's got potential, and I'm not 100% sure how they would do it. Like if they would follow Joel and Ellie and retell the gameplay, which I think would be cool, but also weird because it would be different actors, you know?
Yeah, and also I think it might be strange for the people who are looking into the movie to see if that's a game they want to play, because a lot of people who have played the game, if they're watching the same story, it might not be as good to them if it's not
Right.
exact.
Right. And there's also the fact that a movie is what, like 90 minutes, 2 hours long, and the gameplay is a lot longer, so it's a lot more immersive, in the game. So in a way, you're going to get a lot more character development and storyline and just basic immersion. So you would kind of think, no, you should steer away from. What I would like to personally see is what happens after the game.
That would be really cool. I think after the game left off, I'm not going to spoil anything because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there who still want to play
Sure.
it.
Sure.
But I think it would be a great thing to see after
Mhm.
it, because the ending was a really great ending, but it left a lot of questions and it left room for a second game as well. So,
Mhm. To be honest, I might even prefer a second game, but I think that that would be a good place to put a movie. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm cautiously excited about it. Like I just it would depend on where they go with it. I
yeah.
think that they have potential, so
Yep.
I'll keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't get as bad as some of the other gaming
Yeah,
movies.
that's the other thing is that there's a lot of really bad video game movies out there.
Yeah.
And I like The Last of Us a lot, so you're just like, I don't please don't screw this up.
Yeah, the franchise for Last of Us did amazing with their first game. So,
Yeah. Well, hopefully it won't suck.
yep. Speaking of movies, the Minecraft movie that Notch has been working on with the
Mm.
Warner Brothers is getting spread around.
Yeah, yeah. I'm cautiously excited about that one too.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people be like, "No, don't put a storyline to Minecraft." But I'm like, one of the things that I always do when I'm playing, and I'm a writer, I'm a storyteller, and so whenever I walk around, I'm like, why is there this giant abandoned mine shaft here? Who are the people that built this? Why is there a giant underground stronghold that has nothing in it? Why is there this fortress in the Nether that nobody lives in? Why are these villages here? Like
Yeah.
why are there zombies? Where did like presumably a zombie came from infecting a human, right? And then
Yeah.
turning it into a zombie. So what happened to this world? You
Yeah.
know? And I'm constantly thinking that, like, where did these skeletons come from? Why do they hate us?
Yeah.
Like I'm constantly like forming ideas of my own in my head. So I don't know if that's what they would do, but there's a story to be told for sure.
Yeah. And I know they could do it well because Element Animation has been doing it well for the past year, and so
Right. And like other people have said, there's also like the new Lego movie where they've taken Lego designs and they've told a story using those characters. And just like all of the Lego games, Lord of the Rings Lego. It's Lord
yeah.
of the Rings told with Lego, so you could easily tell Lord of the Rings Minecraft if you wanted to. And just it looks like Minecraft characters, but it's
Lord of the
not
Rings,
necessarily
or
right,
something like that.
but your limitations are, in order to forge the ring, you had to mine gold, and then smelt it in your furnace. Like you would have to have Minecraft limitations,
Yeah,
but you're still telling kind of like a familiar story. So I think that with the right team of writers and editors that they could tell a really fun story.
they could. And Minecraft is ever changing. Everyone has their own story, so it's not like it's going to spoil the game either.
Right,
It's
exactly.
so I mean, the game is never ending. The world's never ending.
I only see it ever enhancing the game, to be honest. Maybe
Yeah,
something in the movie gets implemented into the game, but chances are if you don't like it, you don't play that version of the game or you don't use that new block or whatever. I mean,
yeah. Like no one likes the new textures of the diorite and andesite and anything like that. So you don't have to use it if you don't like it.
right, exactly. I mean, I guess they could change it to like the only way you can smelt iron is to use the new block or something, but chances are they're not going to do that.
Yeah. No,
And even if they did, you could still just play. Okay, I'm only going to use jars 1.7.3 or whatever, and you just don't update your game again, or you'll always play an old jar version.
yeah.
Super easy to do that now. So,
Yeah, especially with the new launcher.
yep, people just like to complain. So,
Yeah.
I think it'll be awesome, and I really look forward to that. I think that if they do it right, it will be awesome.
Yeah. So for our next topic, have you heard anything about the UK ISP filters for their porn?
For their porn,
Yeah.
tell me more.
Okay, so in UK has been filtering out porn and things like that through
Mm.
ISP filters, and it's gotten really bad there to the point that not only is it blocking bad sites, it's blocking small amounts of bad sites and blocking good sites that talk about sexual abuse and things like that.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, the person who was entitled of building these ISP filters, he was just arrested for child porn charges.
Ah, yeah, I did hear about that. That's a pretty bad irony, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those
He was the
things.
guy that was creating the rules,
Yeah, he
right?
was.
So he probably was creating loopholes for himself.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, based on this article, it's saying the filters were easily bypassed in the first place.
Hmm.
But if you heard anything about the ISP filters, they're an opt-out system. So you have to basically call them up and say, "I want my porn back" to be able to access things like that.
Right,
So
right.
I'm not sure why it's an opt-out system. Opt-out, I don't see how it works. I mean, I guess embarrassment, but I don't really know.
There's a big difference to me too between porn and child porn.
Yeah.
Because one I think should definitely be illegal in every sense of the word. You shouldn't be able to possess it, you shouldn't be able to make it, you shouldn't be able to look for it. The other one, you should not have to call up someone and request that it be unlocked.
Yeah, and I believe child porn's basically illegal all over the world, so I don't see why they need an ISP filter in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, you should just be able to track that in general and not block it. I mean, if you search it, it should just enter you into a database, you know?
Yeah.
And then, like you say, you get all these false positives where people who are survivors of child abuse or, trying to find groups to network who want support because they were abused as children or whatever, they get blocked. They can't find each other, and that's a legitimate reason that you would want these people to be able to contact each other. So,
Yeah, and a lot of the time just blocking in general is not the best thing. I mean,
right.
I at my school, we have this our teacher who basically has to break the law every single day to do his job because the filters block so much of what he needs access to.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's a huge problem in a lot of situations. Like, are you familiar with the Play Minecraft? Uh, mini game server.
Yep,
All
I
right.
have
So
in my series.
I work for that and I do like the ticketing support systems.
Mm-hmm.
And for the longest time, we didn't have any anti-cheat systems installed. So if
Yeah,
somebody logged onto the server with a hacked client that let them fly or have aimbot or something, we
yeah,
didn't have any plugins installed in order to stop them from doing that. And the only way we could connect or to catch them would be to record them and say, "Look, here's video proof of this guy cheating." And people
yeah,
got so upset about this because they had to, I mean, it took a long time because they had to record it, they had to upload it, they had to send it to us. We had to actually open up the document, look at it, watch it, verify it, confirm with other employees that this is cheating and not a bug or a glitch or lag or something. And so it took a while, sometimes a day or two.
yeah.
And so finally we installed this anti-cheat plugin.
Mm-hmm.
And now if somebody hits you with a knockback two sword and you go flying out of the water, you get kicked for flying on the server because the anti-cheat plugin has a false positive. It registered you as hacking,
Yeah,
and various other things, so that if you have a speed 2 potion and you sprint over a block gap or whatever, it will kick you for cheating because there's just so many false positives. So yeah, and so we get even more complaints now
yeah,
for having a cheating hack, for blocking this thing because
yeah,
it's kicking the good guys now,
yeah. And
and yeah,
continue.
it's the same thing. It's like now we're punishing the good people, and we're getting, like, sometimes we might have had some false positives when we were doing it manually. Somebody might have gotten banned who wasn't actually cheating, but I think the numbers have gone up from, like, I don't know, 5% to like 20%. You
Yeah.
know, it's
And I believe some of the things that you were talking about, what was his? I reported one of these guys actually. We were playing in a game, actually 3 games in a row. We were all in the same game. He was flying around, and they actually started talking about how you guys didn't have filters for it,
mhm.
and I even think he said what type of hacks he was using, and I don't if it's that I don't know. It's just I don't just filters. Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about.
But now you can see, like, we have them now and we get even more complaints. So
Yeah,
it's like, well, what do you do? Do you punish the people, like the people who are, I don't know, because you were being punished by having the hacker in 3 of your games,
yeah,
right? But now everybody is being punished by having a filter installed because they get a knockback 2 sword and they get kicked for flying,
yeah,
and so it's just like, what do you do? And like the same thing with these filters, it's like, I don't search for child porn ever,
yeah,
right? But now maybe these other searches that I'm looking for are getting blocked because this ISP is blocking me from searching some innocent thing that happens to have some connection of words strung together that blocks it, or like your teacher who is obviously, like, trying to do his job and
yeah,
can't because the filters are so strong that he can't even get on, YouTube or something.
yeah. And the only way I was actually able to get through the filters with my laptop was to run an open VPN through port 442, which to people who don't know what that is, that's the same thing as the secure ports, which is HTTPS, the proxy.
Hmm.
And that was the only way to get through it because and he's not even allowed to use VPNs because that's illegal at our school too.
So what is he trying? What does he need to connect to do his job? Like, just an example.
Just an example, he is a multimedia broadcasting teacher, so he has to connect to YouTube to post things to YouTube.
Hmm.
Well, YouTube on our schools with no filters and nothing has a redirect system that automatically redirects you and logs you out of YouTube and puts you on the education channel for YouTube.
Now, presumably, this is to stop students from watching YouTube during class or something.
Yes. However,
Yeah. See, that I have a problem with that because I think that, and I feel like this about, like, a lot of parental controls and stuff. Like, don't the responsibility is with the parent. The responsibility is with the teacher. You know, if you are watching YouTube in class and your teacher doesn't catch you, then really that's the teacher's fault for not paying more attention and being more vigilant, you know?
Yeah.
It's like these little 9-year-olds who are watching R-rated films at home, and the parents get all upset about it, and you're like, "Where were you? What were you doing? Why weren't you watching what your 9-year-old was watching on television? It's not it's an R-rated movie, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's got the parental guides on it that it's supposed to have, you know?
Yeah.
You're the one that's failing in your job. Don't go suing a video game company because these zombies are blowing each other's heads off.
Yeah.
Blame yourself because you're not watching what games your kids are playing.
Yeah. And speaking of the UK filters, the new South Park game, Stick of Truth, a
Mm.
lot of it's been censored in a lot of countries, including
Yep.
UK.
Yep. Same thing. You know, it's just like, I mean, to be fair, that game is like, there's like, on a score of like 1 to 10, that game is like a 22.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it's South Park. You kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
If your 9-year-old wants that game and you buy it for them without researching it and knowing what is likely to be in it, that is not the game maker's fault. That's your fault for not being a more vigilant parent.
Yeah. And to even hear for this point to even have a 9-year-old to even know what the game is at that
Right.
point
Right, exactly.
would be a parental error as well.
Hmm. I mean, that's just true across the board, and especially in the United States. I mean, it's amazing that, well, the United States is really messed up because the United States is all for blood and guts and violence and gore,
Yeah.
but if you have sex, then it's not okay.
Yeah, and that gets really strange for a lot of different reasons. I'm pretty sure a lot of games are turning more into COD
Violent
style
game.
games
Yeah.
and not realism, I guess you could say, because of different things like that.
Hmm.
And I don't know, it kind of gets annoying after a while.
Well, I think something's gonna have to change about that. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. It is weird though to me that on television you can't show a man's butt crack, but you could show his head being blown off.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? Because because seeing people's heads blowing off is totally normal. I guess I don't know, but seeing a butt crack, heaven forbid.
Yeah.
But at least in like the UK, as I understand it, it's not. They don't seem to have as hard censors. Do you know what was censored from the South Park game in the UK?
I actually, I'm looking at the article right now,
Uh-huh.
and I do not see exactly what they're censoring. Um,
I remember there was something about an anal probe.
yeah, there are 5 anal probe scenes.
Hmm.
Um,
Have you played the game?
I've only played a bit of it.
So you haven't seen the anal probes?
No, I have not.
Like, well, I mean, for one thing, it's South Park, right? So it's
Yeah,
like cardboard animation, right? It's like little cutout people. So like even if it was like full on graphic, it's
yeah,
still like really simplistic animation, right?
yeah, and it's also things like abortions and things like that that are in the game. But I mean, Prometheus had a C-section in the middle of the movie. I mean, that's not censored anywhere.
Well, I mean, C-sections don't have the controversy that abortions do,
True.
but but yeah, I agree. Like, it's still, I don't know. It's not something that should be necessarily censored. Like, maybe there should be a version of the game where you can like turn on and turn off like the rating level.
Yeah,
You know, like the XXX uncensored version and then like the R-rated version.
yeah,
But you have a chance to decide which version you want to play.
yeah.
Or
And
like,
I
go ahead.
believe some games can do that. Like
Right.
Call of Duty actually did that right, where you can actually turn off the gore from the game and drop it down to about. I think they rated it T without the gore.
Right. And like when I was a kid, and I'm pretty old, so I used to play on like Leisure Suit Larry games, and
Yeah,
they had like these parental locks, but the way that they did it is they had a survey before the game, and they would ask you questions that mostly you would only know if you were of a certain age, like who was the vice president of the United States in 1973.
Yeah.
Like something that if you were 18 at the time, you would have voted for, so you would have known, but something that a 13-year-old would have no clue about.
Yeah.
And this is the age before Wikipedia, so you couldn't just go look it up. And so depending on, it was like 10 questions, and if you got all of them correct, then you got the dirtiest version of the game. If you got 7 of them correct, then you got like the R-rated version of the game. If you got 5 of them correct, you got the PG version of the game, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So
Which would work if we didn't have so much access to the internet. And I'm not saying that much access is a bad thing, but
but any sort of like, even just the ability to lock or unlock, sure, you could just unlock it, but the option is there, so the game makers can still put out the game that they want, and that becomes the problem of the parent. Like, well, where were you when the child was deciding to lock or unlock the game?
yeah,
Or even just sell 2 copies of the game.
true. That's
Sell the X-rated version or the uncensored version and the PG-13 rated version.
yeah. So I guess that's how it is.
The solution is not to ban via IP addresses, or
Yeah.
ISPs or whatever.
Yeah. So let's move on to our next
Let's
topic.
move on to something else.
Yeah. We're speaking about
Rage.
this for like 15 minutes now or something like that.
Yeah.
So have you played any of the Tomb Raider series?
I have not. I've never played a single one.
Aw.
I know. I'm a weird gamer. Like I tend to like the more like I really like Minecraft and like The
Yeah.
Sims and like more like Guild Wars and EverQuest kind of stuff.
Yeah. Tomb Raider, I've actually played the original one. I actually found the original disc in my house somewhere and played it.
Like your dad's or something.
Yeah. But Tomb Raider just sold 6 million copies almost after the 2013 reboot.
So that of the new game or of the original game?
I believe it's the new game, but I don't even think it was released before or until after December, so that's
Wow.
3 4 months.
That's pretty good. It's nice to, because that game has been, the franchise has been around since the 90s, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I seem to remember like 99 or something that movie came out or something.
Yeah, and the movie was good.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie either. That's how much I don't even know. I know what it's about, but yeah. Well, I remember seeing the trailers for it for the new game, and it looked really awesome.
Yeah,
So it doesn't surprise me that it's doing well, but it's nice to see that it's doing well.
yeah. They're really good at marketing from what I've seen from them about their movies and their games.
Sure. You just show her running, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot like they're doing better than the Wii U is at marketing, which
Well, yeah, I take craps that do better than the Wii U.
yeah. um but yeah, and that's leading into another thing. You can actually get into this game now because the Xbox One is finally having price cuts from $500.
It's
So,
it's price cut down from $500 to
yeah.
what?
I don't it's getting from UK. This is only putting out UK numbers, so I'm not exactly sure how much it is. But UK currently cost £429, which is 500 US dollars. It's being dropped over £120.
Hmm.
So I'm guessing that's almost $160.
Do you own an Xbox One?
I do not own an Xbox One yet.
Will you buy one now that it's $100 less?
I probably will be able to afford it now.
It's still a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still quite a bit. There's still flaws with it, and I might even wait longer until they fix a lot of the bugs, but
Yeah,
it's,
I'm not a.
yeah.
You?
I didn't hear anything. You dropped out for a second.
Yeah, I lost you for a second there too. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a console gamer. I just can't justify the prices of buying, a $300 to $500 machine plus, $30 to $60 per game.
Yeah.
I would just rather.
And
I already have a very expensive computer
yeah,
that can do everything. I'm just like, let me just buy the games on my computer.
yeah. And I could use that $300 to $500 for a new graphics card or something like that.
Right, exactly. Like your computer, you can just upgrade too.
Yeah.
So
And so yeah, I mean,
I'm glad to see the prices are dropping, but it's like it could probably be $100, and I would still think it's too expensive.
yeah.
And I wonder if that's the way that console gaming is gonna go. That people are gonna start going, instead of buying a PlayStation and an Xbox and all of these other consoles, why don't we just all put it on my PC?
Yeah, and like if you look at the Steam machines, it's basically a PC.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I could foresee a future where console gaming just kind of becomes, especially because even with an Xbox, like you can download the games, or
Yeah.
you can stream the like or Steam and stuff. Like you just get them directly onto your computer. Like I just think that that is so much easier.
Yeah. And
There's so
if
many games too where I'm like, oh, I want to play that multiplayer game with you, but I bought it on PlayStation and you bought it on Xbox and he bought it on PS or PC.
yeah.
And so we own the same game, but we still can't play together. Like that's just dumb.
Yeah, and a few of us were talking about this. If you and they can't combine the same servers from a PlayStation server and an Xbox server and a PC server
Right.
because a lot of the games are entirely different and coded differently now for
Yep.
each thing.
Yep.
And if someone actually did port it to where there was a single server for all consoles, then it would become almost like 3D TVs where it's just everyone's doing it now.
Yep.
And I don't see the point of even trying to do that. Instead, just everyone get a PC. I'm pretty sure you can build a decent computer for $300 that
Right.
could.
That's the thing. For $300, you can get a pretty decent computer and if you count the cost of an Xbox One and the cost of a PlayStation, the cost of a PlayStation 2 and the cost of the PlayStation 3, and the Xbox 360 and so on and so forth, you add up all of these consoles, the kind of beastly computer that you could have bought instead,
Yeah,
and then once it got obsolete, you could have just bought another $60 thing to upgrade it.
yeah,
It's just it amazes me that consoles have hung on as long as they have.
yeah. And some things, I think it's because a lot of parents do not agree with the idea that you can update your computer because I don't think a lot of them actually know that it's possible in the first place.
That's true. And there is still some even consumers, teenagers or 20 somethings who don't understand that a computer is more than an email machine, you
Yeah,
know, and that certain computers can be built to do different things,
yeah,
and that your laptop is not necessarily going to be able to run Skyrim, but you can build a computer for relatively inexpensive that can do that and can video edit and can email and can do watch Netflix and do all of the other things that you want to do. So you
yeah,
don't need to buy all these different. I mean, I think within our lifetime, the computer is going to replace the TV. The computer is going to replace the console gaming thing. It's all going to become one thing.
yeah. And I think that's what Xbox One tried to do, but I don't think it's really working either.
Well, because Xbox One is one of the things that's going to be destroyed instead. It's not big enough to take over that position.
Yeah,
It wants to because it doesn't want to lose that source of income, but
yeah,
I think Xbox needs to focus on making the games and buying the titles and submitting them so that they
yeah.
can be played on PCs.
And I think one of the things out there that people are confused about is you don't need to have an Intel Xeon and a NVIDIA Quadro K6000 to actually be able to play games, which
Right.
those are the best things on the market at the moment. That'll cost you a $16,000 computer, which no one can afford.
Right. That's not necessary. I mean, you can play. I mean, for $1,000, you could buy a pretty beastly machine,
Yeah,
especially if you build it yourself. Don't go to Costco or Walmart or something, but talk to some people, do some research on Newegg or something.
yeah,
You can get a really good machine for relatively inexpensive.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
Especially if you're not trying to record it at the same time.
yeah. Recording doesn't matter how powerful your computer is, it still runs it down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so our next thing, you, the DayZ, the leader, for the creation of DayZ, stepped down not too long ago,
Uh-huh.
and I'm not sure exactly what to think about it because he's been working on it for years now and saying it's going to come out, it's going to get out of alpha, and the guy who's working on it, it's sold in alpha and it's in the top in alpha and then he drops out. I don't know if why he didn't stay in until at least beta.
Did you read the article?
Um I didn't have time to read the whole article, but I read some of it.
I read through it and like it kind of made sense when he was explaining it. Kind of, he sounds like a control freak,
Yeah.
and so it sounded like his being there was actually becoming detrimental to the. It's kind of like if he had stepped out, it would have been out of alpha a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I kind of get like he wants to do his own thing, and he's also just he's too controlling. He needs to step away, and they can actually make some advancements without him there.
Yeah.
So it on the surface, it's kind of like, wait, what? But
Yeah.
I think when you actually kind of research his reasoning, it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, and he did create the DayZ mod, which DayZ was originally a mod
Right.
for I can't remember the name of the game now.
Oh
Um,
gosh, what? It's blink. I'm blinking. Yeah. Okay. Well, I can't remember either. But yeah, yeah. It was a
yeah, it was originally a mod, and he created the mod for it. The mod was amazing. Everyone loved it, and then people started asking for its own game, and it's taken 2 years maybe now to even get it into alpha.
right. And I think he started his own company or something, and like Daisy belongs to a different company or something. Like I can't remember what it was, but it was like uh there was some stuff too where he was working for a company and he wanted to work on his own company or something. So I kind of understood that as well. Like he wanted to separate the two. I'm
Yeah,
trying to remember. Was it Armada?
it did start with an A. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. Oh well, what? It's not important.
Yeah.
Wait. So yeah, I mean it's weird, but if it gets Daisy out of Alpha, I think that'll be a good step. And he's probably still going to make money hand over fist. And I
Yeah.
think he said he was going to go start working on other games because he said that Daisy was inspired by some other mod, I think,
Yeah.
and then he wanted like it still wasn't even Daisy was not what he wanted it to be in terms of like the multiplayer uh format that he was looking for. So he wants to continue searching and creating like this perfect game that he has this vision for.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of cool. Like, it kind of sucks because, like, well, see, what I think happened is that he created a mod, and the mod that he created is a really cool mod, and a lot of people like it, but it's not what he wanted.
Yeah.
So he keeps trying to change this mod to be this perfect game that he wants, but he can't because he's already created something that people like. So
Yeah.
he needs to leave the mod alone. He needs to let the people who like what Daisy is enjoy what Daisy is for what it is as it is.
Yeah.
And then he needs to move on and create this perfect game elsewhere, you know?
Yeah.
He's trying to mold Daisy into being this thing that it's not. That it's already become something else,
Yeah.
you know? So I think he's finally realized I need to walk away from this game. I need to say, I'm sorry. I'm done with this. This is not what I wanted it to be. It's awesome, but it's not what I want.
Yeah.
So you guys have fun with it, but I'm going to go build what I want over here.
Yeah.
And I totally get that. I
Let him play
totally
Minecraft. He can build whatever he wants.
right, exactly.
So, let's see. Now, have you heard about? Did you ever hear about the infamous Second Son game?
No.
I actually haven't heard much about this game either. I just recently looked at it, and it looks really cool. And there isn't much word on it though. But Naughty Dog is making it, and Naughty Dog makes really
Mm.
good games.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I might get it, but from what this is saying, it looks like it might be PS4 only.
Yeah. That's the one reason that I think consoles are still surviving, because they have these exclusives that you can only play on their systems. And I admit, like, was Sleeping Dogs, I think, came was that like a PS3 exclusive when it came out?
I
And
believe so.
I was like, I want to play this, but I don't want to buy a PS3. So I just watched Let's Plays of it instead.
Yeah,
And then I ended up not buying it when it came out on PC because I had already seen it. I already knew it was going to happen.
yeah,
And
and
there's a couple of games where I've been like, oh, I would like to play that, like Journey,
yeah,
which I think was like a PS2 game or something. I've never played. I want to really play it, but I don't own the PlayStation, so I'm never gonna play it.
yeah.
And it just makes me sad because I would totally buy that game on a PC.
Yeah, and I believe Sleeping Dogs just for it actually went free for a month on with the Xbox Live Gold thing. So a lot of people got it for free.
Huh. I just wonder if it actually works. Like if having an exclusive for PlayStation 3 really, do they make more money by having an exclusive PlayStation 3, or would they make more money by making it available on all platforms, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know what, like, how many people went out and bought a PlayStation just so that they could play Sleeping Dogs,
Yeah, I don't know very many who would even do that except
right?
yeah.
And then, so I don't know what the rationale is there. Again, like, do they? I don't know. Like, it just seems
Yeah.
like it would make more sense to sell it on a play on a, like, I might understand like a 1 month delay, like it's gonna be on PlayStation for a month and then we'll release it on PC.
Yeah.
But these like exclusive games, I'm just like, really?
Yeah. And what
It seems like you're just screwing yourself out of money.
yeah. And what makes me wonder is how hard is it actually to port from a PlayStation to an Xbox when they're almost identical internals?
Right. I don't think that it's anything to do with porting the games or translating them. I think it's purely money driven. And it must make more money the way that they're doing it, otherwise they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But it's still really weird to me.
Yeah. Um so have you I've been watching this for a while. I'm not sure how many others have, but the Ukraine crisis going on uh over in Middle Asia.
That's quite a jump in topics, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
quite a jump.
Yeah, it's a bit sobering. We're talking about video games and zombies and blowing each other up, and then there's this real world crisis is going on.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that the US is doing with it, a lot of it doesn't make sense to
Now,
me.
are you American?
Yes, I am American.
Okay, I'm American too, so I feel we need like the European world perspective here.
Yeah, the other host couldn't make it, who is European, so
Oh, I see. I see.
yeah,
So he's probably off fighting the crisis, the actual war.
yeah. Um, which some of it, like, I kind of agree with, even though I'm American, I kind of agree with what Russia's saying.
Now, for now, world topics like this are often ignored by the gaming target audience. Like 14 to 17-year-old boys and stuff probably have no idea what's even going on. So, do you
Yeah.
want to give a real quick recap of what is going on?
Okay, so basically what's going on is I believe that Ukraine has been well, first it was I believe civil war, and then Russia kind of got a little bit into it themselves and actually stated that they would go into a military invasion into Ukraine, and the U.S. didn't want for this to happen. So the U.S. actually funded the Ukrainian government, and I don't see reason for him funding the Ukrainian government because I'm pretty sure it would be better off if we stayed out of it because it'd be just like all our video games for those people.
To tie this all back together, yeah.
Yeah, nuclear war basically. If you throw
I,
in the U.S. and Russia with the few of the largest nuclear militaries in the world, together in the same place.
America really likes to stick its fingers in places that it doesn't necessarily belong.
Yeah.
So it's difficult because we are a superpower,
Yeah.
and like the line in Superman, with great responsibility, or with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
So part of me does think, as a superpower, we do have some responsibility to try to keep the peace,
Yeah.
but I don't know that keeping the peace necessarily means funding armies. I'm not quite
Yeah.
sure where those two come together. So yeah, it's pretty scary. I mean, uh, I don't know that it's quite to the level of like some of the Cold War stuff happening, back in the
Yeah.
60s, but it
But
could get bad.
yeah, and it could be since a lot of the, like you were saying, 14 through 16-year-olds don't really know what's going on.
Right.
Um, it's basically almost like Black Ops 2, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. Tie it
Um,
in for them to understand.
yeah. Black Ops 2, Russians versus Americans, nuclear war, that type of thing. And technically, I mean, who knows where it could stop, honestly.
Right. So, and America is involving itself and doesn't really need to be, and so that's kind of America should be saying, "Stop it, you guys! Can't we all just get along?" And
Yeah.
instead, we're like putting money on the Ukraine. We're like,
Yeah. It's like placing bets on random people.
yeah, yeah. I don't necessarily agree with that for sure.
Yeah. Um so let's go from the world topics to something entirely different again.
My little pony.
Um our
Sorry.
last topic for or one of our last topics for today, the Connect being used for surveillance, because people have been finding out that people have actually been, like, people with Yahoo accounts have been almost 1.5 million Yahoo accounts have been hacked through their Connect to be visual, like, seen.
So the government going more places that it shouldn't be is what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah. So from the Ukraine, the government is now involving itself in your video game systems.
Yep.
Not cool. And I don't really know why.
Yeah.
Like what do they expect to see? Like the average age of the person that owns a Connect is probably like the same target audience who has no idea what's going on in the Ukraine. This
Yeah.
14 to 22-year-old boys. They're
Which.
gonna see guys masturbating. They're gonna
Yeah.
see guys playing Call of Duty. They're gonna see people sitting on their couches watching Netflix. Like, what do they expect to see?
Yeah, I know. And, like, honestly, when you jump onto an online server for your consoles, all you hear is 12-year-olds screaming at their screen anyways.
Exactly, exactly. So it's like the number of accounts that they would have to monitor to find like the one guy doing something even remotely illegal, and even then what they're going to find is it's going to be him growing pot, or it's going to be him beating up his wife or something. It's not going to be national terrorist threat level stuff. So
Yeah.
you can't monitor a million people to find like the one guy growing pot in his kitchen. Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the rationale behind it is.
Yeah, and a lot of it just, it's, I don't know what their thinkings of it really is, but it's not like you're actually going to see. Now, I'm not saying this because I agree with terrorism, but the terrorists aren't stupid. They're not gonna they're not gonna do something where they could get caught easily.
It
Hmm.
Buying a Kinect is a video game system, right?
Yeah.
So the likelihood that you're going to like buy this video game system and set it up in your house and then perform some illegal operation in front of it, it's just like I said, it might happen. You might see somebody domestically beating their wife up. You
Yeah.
might see someone growing pot in their kitchen. You might see a murder randomly happen because he broke in at the right time and whatever. But like in terms of like national like things that I think might deserve that kind of like level of privacy breaking, like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like install it in airports or install it at like a bank or something, like a
Yeah.
place where these sort of things might happen because the trying to watch a million people, is that what the number that they said was? It was like
It was like 1.5 million or something like that.
1.5 million people being observed through their accounts. It's just like who's funding the researchers that are watching a million, like I
Yeah.
can't even fathom like what is the rationale behind it? Like, yeah, and like you said, terrorists aren't stupid. They're not going to be performing it in their living room in front of their Connect. They're going to be, in their clubhouse, in a warehouse. They're going to be in a basement. They're going to be, I
Yeah.
don't know. It just
Yeah. Even NSA going through your cell phone makes more sense than going through Connect. But
well, and because yourself, I don't
I
know.
don't, it makes no sense.
It just feels like I'm missing like some important piece. Like, do they have it like just running through a filter system where they search for like certain words, or is there like literally a guy sitting in an office with like 100 screens in front of him, and he's just watching 100 screens of empty living rooms, and as soon as somebody walks in, he starts paying attention? Like,
Yeah.
I don't. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Or do you think that they're doing it for more like networking purposes? Like when somebody plays a game, they do this, that, or the other thing. Kind of like what is the Myers? No, it's Nielsen ratings. Where like you wear the little device and it tells you like when you watch television, and that's how they get their like Nielsen rating scores for like how popular a TV program was or something.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's something like that, where they're like, okay, this guy is playing Call of Duty, and this is how he interacts with the game, so therefore we can consider this a success. Whereas, like,
Yeah.
did the surveillance say that they're actually using the camera to look through?
Well, the article is saying that UK spies are considering using it for surveillance, which a spy versus like a marketing team like Microsoft or anything, that's two entirely different worlds, so I don't really know.
Right, right. Because like I could understand them using like, okay, uh, this Connect is on, and they've played this game for 6 hours today. I'm going to take that data and use it to market my next game, because obviously this game is very popular, but he only played this game for half an hour, so that's not a popular game. That's like more market research. I kind of understand.
Yeah.
It's still dodgy because you're using content that you shouldn't really have access to, but it's not like they're looking through the peephole into my living room.
Yeah. And
So I wonder if that's just a scare tactic that they're using to try to make us read this article, or if they're actually, like, oh, well, you could do that with anything with the camera, like your laptop webcam could be used to spy on you for that,
yeah, and I think
you
there was
know?
something about that a long time ago where people were actually using laptop webcams to spy on other people.
Well, people have used like baby monitors and stuff to spy on people. I mean, as long as you know how to do it and you can connect to the right frequency, you can screw up with anything pretty much.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference between someone maliciously spying, hacking into your system and spying on you through it versus your government doing it,
Yeah.
sanctioning. So one is an illegal operation that if this guy is caught, he's going to go to jail. The other one is your government, and you just have to take it. Big Brother is watching you.
Yeah.
So that's much scarier to me.
Yeah. So, I don't know. But from scary topics to another completely entirely different topic.
Hmm.
Elder Scrolls Online is coming out in almost a month now.
Now I've never played this.
Now it's another series from the Skyrim,
Right.
um, and I I thought Skyrim would be the most amazing game ever if you could make it co-op.
Hmm.
I'm not sure how I feel about online, because I don't know if that fits the Skyrim theme in itself, or the Elder Scrolls theme.
I've never played the game, but I read through the article and it looked like a cool idea. I definitely tend to prefer multiplayer games where I can play with my friends and stuff. But then when I got to the bottom, like the comments were not the greatest in terms of like people who had beta tested
Yeah,
the multiplayer aspects of it. So it's in beta, so maybe they'll improve it, but
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. And I'm very much opposed to monthly fees.
yeah,
So if you charge me $10, $15 a month to play something, I probably will not participate
yeah,
unless it's amazing. Which is
yeah,
why I ended up playing games like Guild Wars 2 and why I like Minecraft servers and stuff, because it's a purchase of the game and then the multiplayer is free pretty much. Or you might have to pay for the server to actually host like a Minecraft server, but
yeah,
that's completely different to me than paying a flat fee each month to join. So it looked like the Elder Scrolls was going to go more monthly fees.
yeah. It's basically like Elder Scrolls went towards the WoW,
Right.
yeah, variety of that. Um,
But
I,
I think it's a step in a right direction because I think that is the way that a lot of gaming systems are going.
yeah, and I'm not sure how this is going to work out on things like the Xbox One and PS4
Yeah.
because the graphics of Skyrim itself and the PC graphics, I'm not sure how the Xbox One and PS4 could handle online versions of those graphics.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So, I mean, PC, I can see it working perfectly fine.
Sure. Sure,
Um,
because you can have graphics as high as you want depending on your machine
yeah,
on a PC, but on an Xbox you are definitely limited.
yeah. Which I guess doesn't really work out. I'm not like based on that first picture in the article, it looks like the graphics on the characters themselves have dropped a tiny bit, but
Hmm.
which I guess could be the result of making it multiplayer.
Right. I mean, or they could do something like Minecraft, because Minecraft on Xbox is completely different than the PC version, but it still works.
Yeah,
And so they've got a finite world versus the infinite world, and they've got different changes. So maybe the game will be slightly smaller on Xbox or something.
yeah, and hopefully they do something like that. I believe the PC is actually all of Tamriel, which for those who have actually played Skyrim, there's different versions of it. Skyrim is one country. This is how I'm gonna put it. Skyrim is one country. Cyrodiil is one country. Morrowind is one country. Type of thing. And basically, they're combining every single country into one game,
Right.
which I like that idea. Makes the worlds a lot bigger, a lot more to do. But I don't really know how well it's gonna work out for consoles in particular.
I wonder if they'll sell each country as like a different game and you can I don't know. Yeah, I mean it's hard to understand how the and I don't have an Xbox, so I really don't even know how an Xbox works. So
Yeah,
I'm sure that they'll figure it out. I mean, they're paying people tons of money to do it, but
yeah. And
it's
Skyrim
just
is
another
known for great,
but
amazing things.
it's another situation where you're kind of like this would all be a lot easier on a PC.
Yeah,
And kind of going, the only reason I would buy this on Xbox is because I already own an Xbox,
yeah,
or maybe because I preferred playing in my living room versus the room where my computer is, but that's just a very small change in like setting.
yeah,
So yeah, in a future where it's all the same machine, I think it's all gonna be on the same machine.
yeah. Um, so this is almost the end. We actually got two questions this week, which was a real surprise.
Oh, good.
I got them really late, actually. That's why they're not in the docs. The first question is from Devin.
Hey,
Uh,
Devin.
Devin asks, "What is your favorite block in Minecraft?"
Oh gosh, that's just such a unique and excellent question.
Yeah,
I really like, and this is like kind of an unusual one. I like jack-o'-lanterns. Usually when I play on a multiplayer server, all of the glowstone in the nether has just been completely picked over.
yeah,
it's like basically impossible to get any glowstone.
Yeah.
And so if you want to do like any sort of lighting that doesn't involve torches, you have to use jack-o'-lanterns. And so
Yeah.
I've definitely built entire massive builds where my all of my decorating, all of my lighting has been done through jack-o'-lanterns. And it's like made me become fond of them. I decorate it. I do it so that the face doesn't show.
Yeah.
So like the face is up against a wall, so it just kind of looks like an orange block. And I really like bright colors and orange and stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's grown on me. It's become like my thing.
Yeah.
What about,
And
what about you?
um
What's your favorite block?
my favorite block is actually redstone.
A
For
redstone block or
no,
the
just
ore?
redstone dust because I I love redstone. I love the complexity of it. A lot of the same reasons I like things like the Technic mods.
Hmm.
So
But is that really your favorite block, or you like it because of what it lets you do?
now that's a good point. If I like it, I guess I could say I like it for what it does. So for
Like maybe you like a piston better, or maybe you like I don't know. I don't know
yeah,
redstone, so
so
I don't know.
maybe I don't know. That's
What
a
what is the one block that you always have on you?
um
Probably redstone.
watermelon.
Watermelon.
No
Why?
joke. I always have a watermelon on me.
Why? That is like the worst food that you could eat.
No, not even not like the watermelon food, but like the watermelon block.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
I don't even know.
You're a strange man.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really weird.
Watermelon. That's what you're gonna get pranked now.
Yeah, I'm gonna get pranked as soon as someone watches this.
Hmm. All right.
Okay.
Second question.
Second question wasn't really a question, but it was sent and it said for the podcast. They didn't leave a name, but their email is Jacob from Denmark.
Oh, hello, Jacob from Denmark.
Jacob from Denmark says hi, backward smiley face.
Oh, hi. How you doing, Jacob from Denmark? The
Yep,
podcast.
he says hi.
Hi. Thanks for that question.
Yep. um, so if you guys want to send in questions, the email to send it to is creativepathos@gmail.com. There is a Z on the end of that.
Put it in the description of your video.
Yeah, it'll be there as long with all the docs as well, so you guys can check out the articles we read. And thank you for joining me, Vaughn.
Yep, it was fun. Sorry that the other guy couldn't make it. Loser.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you guys in the next episode, and bye bye.
Bye.